Okay, I think we're going to start. There's one more coming, but he's a little bit delayed, so we may as well get going and try to stay on schedule. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Canadian Baseball History Conference. I'm Andrew North. I'll try to get us through the next couple of days. This is our 5th conference, but it's the first time we've been able to do it since 2019, so it's certainly nice to be back in person. Thank you all for coming, but a special tip of the cap to Max Weeder. This is Max, wave Max, and Bruce Brown, who's the guy who's not here, so I'll wait for him when he gets here. Those two are important because they've come all the way from BC and Maryland, respectively, to attend the conference. Another fellow of note is Kevin Blue. Where's Kevin? Also, Kevin, give you a wave. Kevin's the maintainer of the Cooperstowners in Canada blog, and that's worth a look if you're not familiar with it. Okay, the schedule. The schedule that you have printed is accurate. There's one change. Ian Kennedy, who is to present at 1:30 today, tested positive for COVID yesterday morning, so he can't make it. What we will do is post his presentation to the website after the conference is over, so we'll be able to see it later. So what we're going to do then, to fill up that gap, we'll move Benno's presentation half an hour earlier. So Benno will just move up into Ian Kennedy's 1:30 slot, and then we'll go into the afternoon break, which is going to be a bit longer than the normal break anyway, because that's the book signing and all the rest of that festivity. But the upshot may be that we finish a little bit earlier because there are 3 subsequent presentations we'll get to a couple of. Okay, so I mentioned the book signing. The reason the book signing is happening is that a few of our speakers have recent publications, including Ian Kennedy, unfortunately. So, but there are other books that will be available for signing. Now, during the breaks, you may want to visit as well a poster presentation over here done by Elena North and Jim Hostetler. Elena's back there. Jim is, where's Jim? Jim's right there. It's about the bat manufacturing companies that existed in Ontario throughout the 20th century. And I'm sure that Jim will be happy to make himself available for a discussion if anybody wants to go and have a look. As well, there's a merchandise table on the far end there. That will be manned by Scott Crawford from the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame, where Scott is in the Expos cap. Okay, since we last met, the Center for Canadian Baseball Research has been involved in 2 significant undertakings. The first one is a joint venture with the University of Windsor and Christian Trudeau from the university's Department of Economics. Tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you, Andrew. So this was a project that I did not initiate when I was invited to, and so the Journal of Canadian Baseball, Revue de Baseball Canadien in French. So it is a journal that accepts, it's open access, so there's no fee, there's no also printed version, it's all online. So it's a journal dedicated precisely to research about baseball in Canada, mostly history, but we're also interested in other angles. We're going to do this every year. We just completed the first, our inaugural edition, which we're launching at this conference. So I believe you've received in your package some information. You have the link for the webpage for this the journal. We hope that the conference and the journal will kind of work hand in hand. So we have some of the articles that are in the journal are going to be presented at the conference this year. We also hope that those of you that are presenting at the conference will consider publishing your research in the journal next year or in the following years. The idea is to have a bit of a mix of what we're going to publish. There's something, it's not quite an academic journal, but we want to publish, if there is some serious academic research, we're ready to take it on. If there's something more community-based. You want to just share your research. We also have this, so there's a light peer review process that go with that. So we're interested in this. There's also a section that comes from we call from the archives. It's more about if you have nice pictures or photos that you found, artifacts that you want to share. That's also the things that we're interested in. I just want to mention too that if you have a look during one of the breaks, if you want to take a walk, I believe it's on that side, the aquatic center. If you go inside, there's in the main lobby, there's a little display from the Windsor Essex Sports Hall of Fame, and they kind of change what's inside periodically. I don't know what's inside right now, but there's always a few baseball artifacts that you can look at there. So it's maybe not even 5-minute walk from here. So if you need directions, I can help you with that later on. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. As Christian said, the conference has been chosen as the excuse, if you like, to do the official launch of the journal. So the journal's launch is coincident with this conference.
I just remember something. I think
Yeah.
Heidi would have been, Heidi Jacobs, who's not with us, unfortunately. She had COVID this week. She would have been better than me for that, but it would be a great opportunity also to take a picture, not now, but during the conference with all the members of the board for the journal and the contributors to that first edition. So we should try to organize that at
Yes,
some
we can
point.
certainly do that. Most of them are here, so that will do.
Great.
Okay, thank you, Christian. Now, the second undertaking was a joint venture between the Center and the Hanlan's Point chapter of SABRE, which is the Society for American Baseball Research. And most of you are very familiar with this because half the people in this room have contributed to it. It's this book that was published by SABRE earlier this year, and it's a collection of essays describing the influential figures and milestone events in Canadian baseball's historical development. And we mentioned both the journal and the book because a number of the presentations you'll hear this weekend are expanded upon further in either the book or the journal. And I'll try to point out when that's true, when the presentation is covered in one of the other media. Now, I'm sure you're scratching your heads. Everybody's trying to figure out why is there a recipe for spaghetti sauce in my folder. Well, that's not just any recipe for spaghetti sauce. That recipe is Reno Bertoya's grandmother's recipe for spaghetti sauce. And that letter is written by Reno to cousin of the latest. That's how we do it. So it's a bit of a local flavor, if you like. Okay, I think that's it. Is there anything else that I've forgotten that anybody can think of? Washrooms are right outside the door on the right. And please remember to turn off your phones. And then I guess we're...
Maybe, Andrew, about the access to the door?
Oh, yes. The door to the building is locked and will be locked for the rest of the weekend. I have a fob to get us in, but of course, with me inside, that doesn't help us any. So Chip is acting as our Walmart greeter. He will be at the door to let everybody in.
But if you want to take a jaunt or something, you may have trouble getting back in unless
Yes.
you can raise some of us in here, because that door can be slid, but, you know,
Right,
we're not
so-
going to be manning the door the entire
Yeah,
time.
the best idea is if you have to leave the building during the course of the day, let one of us know so that we know to let you back in. 'Cause Chip's going to be keeping an eye on the side. All right, I think we can get started then.